This is Dormouse03, and this is Chapter 2 of my Max Payne 3 Old School difficulty walkthrough. Alright, so after the lengthy cutscene, you start off here, and this is a weird bullet time section for me. I have not memorized where all these guys are in that section, so I did not effectively take out very many of them right there. So I have to struggle through killing the rest of them, and you are not in a good position to be able to do that if you do not take out the guys upstairs when you crash through the window. So as you will see, I'm getting shot to shit as I try to clear out the remaining dudes.
Hadn't seen it coming, but that was no surprise.
Because they have a height advantage on you there, and there's just, I don't know. It would be better to try to kill the guys upstairs, probably, as you're crashing through the window, but I didn't do that, and maybe you will learn from my mistake. So, but I got through it nonetheless. And so I'm just going around trying to pick up some better weapons here, because you just start off with a pistol. Which pistols are pretty good for the most part. They, you know, if you can get a headshot, especially on these earlier chapters, they do enough damage. But later on, you're gonna want to be using heavier weapons, and you know, trying to go for headshots as much as possible. Just because that will make your work easier, but sometimes you will take whatever shot you can get. So, or at least I will. Whatever gets me through the level. So, going around, there are painkillers spread throughout, and something that you'll notice that I do sometimes to an OCD level of checking through the levels here, to try to make sure that I find all the painkillers that I can, because they are really necessary, especially later on in the game. And as I said in my first video, you want to be using them. So like, my health is, you know, pretty red right there. I could probably stand to take one, because it really sucks to get hit by like one bullet where you think, man, that grazed my toenail. That shouldn't take away half of my life, but sometimes they do, and sometimes you'll get hit by a bullet and it will do barely any damage, and sometimes you'll get hit by a bullet and it seems like exactly the same way, and it'll take half your life away. So it's just finicky sometimes. I mean, obviously, it depends on what gun they're using, it depends on how close they are to you, but sometimes it's just doesn't make sense. So, but these parts through this level isn't too bad. Through this section right here, you should be able to do most of this without too much trouble. And if you try to sort of hang around corners like I'm doing here, to try to be able to shoot them when they can't see you, or at least to be able to see them before they can see you, and put some bullets in them before they can get a chance to get a shot off. That usually works pretty well in spots where you can accomplish that. There are a lot of neat environments here, and this club is kind of, it's a cool environment. I mean, the nice like purple lights, it's pretty, but it's also a little hard to see and tell where things are, and that becomes a problem in some spots. Especially later on in the game, there are some areas that get pretty dark, and I believe I turned the brightness up on my screen at some point throughout this playthrough, but that's not for a little while. But if you're finding it hard with the lighting, you can be smarter than I am and remember that you can always adjust that brightness, and it makes the color sometimes a little bit less vibrant, but easier to see your enemies, and that's the most important thing when you're just trying to survive the levels. So I know that sounded kind of like a stupid thing to say, but I don't know. You get into a game, I don't always remember that, hey, I'm having a hard time here. There's something that I can actually do about that. So, and there was the last guy. You get that nice little camera that lets you know that it is now safe to go around and pick up ammo and find some painkillers. And there's a painkiller around in this area where that guy was shooting you with the micro Uzi or micro SMG, whatever it is. So there's a painkiller there, and you can also pick up some ammo for that gun, and then carry on through the level here. And so you'll notice that I don't really use shoot dodge very much, although I would like to. It's a cool mechanic, but I don't use it too terribly often, just because when you use it, you go into prone, or not really prone, but you're lying down in whichever direction you were dodging, and it just takes him so long to get up out of that shoot dodge. And you can use bullet time to make it a little bit better and easier to survive there, but I don't know, it just, unless you know that there's only a couple of guys left and you're pretty confident that you can take them out during the shoot dodge, it's generally not the best idea to do that, because he's laying on the ground, and the enemies take that as a cue to just come up and put a bunch of bullets into the old guy lying on his back. And it's not a good situation. So, in short, the shoot dodge is cool. I like it. Use it when you're playing on easy or medium, because it just makes life harder than it has to be. So here is the last little room here on this part of my walkthrough, and this is probably the most challenging little room here of this area inside the club. And so there are several guys, and they're not always easy to see because there's that area in the middle there that hides them, and they like to hide. And you don't always know where they are, and so I'm trying to sneak around here and find where people are lying in wait, and it just doesn't always work out, because there's the dude in front of me. I believe there's a guy still inside there. Remember to be using those painkillers as necessary. And just trying to move carefully. Move carefully through the area, and you will be alright. So that's effectively the end here of this indoors section, and the outdoors section coming up I will have in the next video. So as some final comments here, just do remember to pick up ammo. Ammo becomes pretty scarce pretty quickly in this game. It's not so much a problem in these earlier chapters, but I would say chapter 3, chapter 4 on, it becomes a little scarce. And there will be areas where if you haven't run around and picked up enough ammo, you get into some really bad situations. One that I'm thinking of, I believe, is in chapter 5, maybe. where you're inside the office building, and there's one area that's just, you run out of ammo so fast, but we'll talk about that when we get there. And this is the end of this video. I will see you in the next. Hope it's been helpful, and I'll see you in the next part of chapter 2.
Está ali! Cala a boca, sua puta!